are ready and they want to do it. But how can they do it? Coming to the same thing also as the Minister of Higher Education is doing. He's trying his best. He's doing everything. Just over the weekend, they were inaugurating the university. You said in Brikama. We applaud him for doing that. He's a hardworking guy and he's doing his best. But my concern is, when it comes to in the engineering sector, youth graduated, and we are still expecting more. What can government do to empower those Gambians who are trying in that field? Before those kids, after graduation, where are we expecting to be seeing them? Let's give them the responsibility. Let's empower our own local people here. Give them what it takes to be there where they should be, than always giving out to foreigners. When it comes to road construction, there are governments who can do it. Let's be Gambianized. Let's Gambianize. And those youth that are coming, let them have a space in what they are reading. But after university, you want to go for employment, it's going to be difficult for you to go for employment. When a foreign company comes in here, he comes with everything that it takes to establish. When they are here, what do they give us? They only give us the labor aspect of it. And you're going to have somebody who has spent 5 years, government spending on him. After the 5 years, you see him working as a laborer. It's not fair. I think we have to start looking at those things properly and then see how best we can create and empower those local contractors or local entrepreneurs so that at least tomorrow, when those kids graduate, they will have somewhere to be. Honorable Speaker, coming to agriculture, as most of our people have already explained, I'm seeing something, I don't know whether we are looking at it properly. Yes, last year we had a very bad harvest because groundnut was not where it was expected. And currently, we are currently in June. There's not like a sign of rain that farmers are preparing themselves. What are we thinking before time? Are we thinking outside the box? I'm not saying that we are expecting drought, but are we thinking outside the box? Because this time of the year, it used to be heavy rains, or used to expect rains. If not heavy, but we used to expect rain. But currently, there's nothing like a sign of rainfall happening currently. What are we planning for them? What is the way forward on that? So I'm appealing to government to at least sit and then come together, see the way forward to see how best we can help those farmers, because they are in need and this is their livelihood. And then we all know that most of the people in this country are farmers. Our dependence is on them. So let's see how best we can really build them out before it is time. Honorable Speaker, as mentioned by other colleagues, this country is ours. When it comes to the Constitution, I'm appealing to members. This Constitution cannot go anywhere if it's not passed in this Parliament. Let's allow the Constitution to come on board. We look at the Constitution and see and do our input in that Constitution. It's not only us passing it, we make it to pass. From here, it has to go to another stage. It must go through a referendum. But if you want to say no, because it was here, it was brought here, we are saying no, when we will have a new Constitution. There was a promise in 2017. In 2017, there was a promise. Gambians went out to vote to say we need change. And what were the things that were highlighted was a new Constitution, because the current one, they say it was a bad one. So do you want to maintain the same Constitution and come to this house again and say no, every time, no, till when? It is high time we come together and see Gambia. Gambia belongs to all of us. Let's allow it to come. Let's allow it to pass. We debate on it. Give your inputs. If you say clause A, I'm not agreeing with clause A. Bring your input and say this is what I want us to do. Without engagement, it will never happen. But will we sit here every time when it comes here, we are prepared for it to come, throw it outside, and then start working as people who are very innocent when we are the cause of everything? It's not fair. The country needs a new Constitution. It's very, hard that deciding to go outside and be asked, what are your time? Do you have a time limit? You say no. Yes, you don't have a time limit because the Constitution, there's no time in your Constitution. What are you waiting? Please, colleagues, I'm appealing to you. Let's go through the Constitution, allow it to pass. We debate on it and pass it to committee level and give our input. If you give your inputs, you know where you are. Then if you come back here debate and people know that you debated on A, B, C, and D, then from there it goes back to the people for referendum. You are the one deciding. They decide. They want to decide. You only pass it and hand over to government for government to send for referendum. There you still have a chance to do your campaign, but not allowing it to pass. I think it should be think about it properly as members of the National Assembly. We are saying only 7 is coming up. People are waiting. Everybody is waiting. Monies are spent. People are inviting, engaging the people to have one-on-one with them and discuss with them. They come and discuss and give you their side of the story. Bring those inputs and bring them here. See with each other and then see the way forward. But if you want to sit and say no to the constitution, when it comes, we throw it out. To be honest, there will be no going to have a new constitution. So I'm appealing to members of this parliament for us to see Gambia first. Let's see Gambia and try to make it possible. When it comes, let's look at it together, see it, and divide it to committee. Other committees, all stakeholders are invited. When they are invited, we come here back and debate. Before it is already passed from Parliament. So, but by not allowing it to happen, it's going to be zero. It's like we are just moving, working for nothing. So I'm appealing to all of you as members of the National Assembly, from myself to any other member, let's see the country first, not to see Sirif Sar as from APRC or Honorable Kamara from NRP and the like. Let's see Gambia. And under here, there is no tag of a party. We are here, our tags are from our constituency. So let's look at this as Gambia and work it out together. So I'm appealing to all of you, and thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Josuang. I now give the floor to the member for Nyani.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I first of all want to recognize the presence of the Vice President and the Cabinet Ministers and their technical staff. I indeed also wish to extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to the President of the Republic of the Gambia in fulfilling his constitutional mandate under Section 77 of the 1997 Constitution in addressing the nation. Honorable Speaker, as mentioned by some of the speakers, if you look at page 6, number 17, that's the draft constitution in which most of us talked about. Looking at page 6 and also linking it to page 45, where the President made mention and advised the Gambians to rise above party politics, which he did not only mention, but he also demonstrated it, because it is the only avenue and the only SoNA where you know that the President visited both the majority and the minority camp. Honorable Speaker, as far as authoritarian legacy is concerned, there is a need for the Gambia to give birth to a new constitution. Honorable Speaker, with your permission, I would like to quote and give few definitions of draft. If you look at the meaning of draft in a general term, it refers to a preliminary version of something that is not yet final. And also, if you look at the meaning of draft in written documents, in a writing or a document, a draft is a rough version of a document, essay, speech, law, or a plan. Now, let's look at the definition of version in our context now, when it comes to law in the Gambian context. We said a draft is a bill or a draft policy or a proposed version of a law or regulation before it is approved. If we are expecting the Constitution for it to come in its original form, for the Constitution to come in a way in which the Gambians prefer it, I don't think there is any need for the existence of this assembly there. It's our mandate. We have the power to go through the Constitution. We have the power to look at the Constitution and see areas that we need adjustments and adjusting, rather than rejecting it in totality when it comes to giving bye-bye time to the 1997 Constitution. Honorable Speaker, as opposed to some of the statements in which they made mention of the consultation, as far as I know, and as far as I am concerned, a lot of consultations were done. If you look at it, consultations were done with the party leaders, and also consultations were also done with the CSOs. Even the traditional leaders, or the faith leaders we may call them, consultation was also done with them. And also mediation partners like International IDEA And also the former president like Goodluck Jonathan have engaged us in many times when it comes to the draft constitution. As end of May 2025, a consultation was done in my area. So standing here saying that no consultation was done, I'm saying a big no to that. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the energy sector, no one will dispute the fact that there are developments when it comes to the energy sector. As far as I know, as he made mention of the 72,000 new households connected or connections, that reminds me of the race of the number of villages that were benefiting from electricity in Nyani. That was rise, at least it rose from 8 to 34. At least that give it a movement from 9% to 39%. At least 30% has been added, even though not all the villages are covered. And we are expecting that before the end of the 2025, the entire villages in Nyani will be covered with electricity. And also, when you look at the agri sector, most of my colleagues made mention of fertilizer. Sometimes the government have very good intention for the country, but sometimes I do ask ourselves, do we really sympathize ourselves as citizens? Because if the price for fertilizer is very affordable for Gambians, it's the same Gambians who will cynic this fertilizer and take it to Senegal and sell it, which makes it very difficult sometimes even for the Gambian farmers to access fertilizer. I think there is a need for the Minister of Agriculture to take note of this, so that let us have mechanisms that we can put in place to make sure that at least the fertilizer is stationed in this country and farmers can access it easily. Honorable Speaker, when you also looked at the healthcare aspect, in the healthcare aspect, no one can dispute the fact that there are numerous developments when it comes to infrastructure. As this is for the first time in the eastern part of Nyani, is at least benefiting a health post, in which we really commend the government for that. If you look at page 40, that is the Public Service Commission. The Public Service Commission, where the president made mention of the salary increment. If you look at it from 2019 to 2025, we can say that salary is increased in 110%. In 2019, there was an increment of 50%. That was increase in salary. In 2022, budget approved, 30% was also increased. And also in January 2025, another 30% is also increased. And there we are still yearning, even though we are yearning for salary restructuring. We definitely have to commend the government. We really have to thank the government, because from 2019 to date, salary has been increased in 110%. And if you also look at in that increment, transport allowance has also been doubled. It is doubled up in the salary increment, which give it a basic increase for grade 1, 75%, grade 2, 67%, grade 3, 59%, grade 4, 49%, and so on. It moves on up to grade 12, in which we really have to commend the government for that. As far as this country is concerned, as far as this nation is concerned, we must rise above party politics and put the Gambia first, and know that at the end of the day, it's the own Gambian people, our own brothers, our own sisters who suffered when it comes to crisis. Honorable Speaker, looking at the issues that are mentioned here, when it comes to education, in which we've all witnessed, we've all seen, there is a total boost when it comes to the number of classrooms that are built. We can build classrooms, but we must also put a system in place in which we can increase or we can advocate for quality education. If you look at the system now, there's a bit difference. Difference in the sense that I can recall in our primary schools, grade 6, we start writing letters. But now, you can even see someone who completed grade 12. Or you can even see someone who is teaching in certain areas and still find it very difficult when it comes to giving the command of the language. And I think there is a need for us to put up a plan. There is a need for us to put up a mechanism in which we can look at our curriculums, review it, and move on so that we can have a good quality education. And also when it comes to transportation, under the Ministry of Transport, road infrastructure. Sometimes, if you look at it, the amount of roads that are constructed in the Gambia here, compared to 30 years of Jawara, 22 years of President Jammeh, we can see that there is a significant change when it comes to road construction, even though Nyani is yet to benefit, and we are hoping that very soon will benefit. So on that note, I thank you for giving me the floor.
Thank you, Member for Nyani. I now invite the member for Fonyi Jarol.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. May I also use this opportunity on behalf of Fonyi Jarol to thank the Vice President. Honorable Speaker, sometimes we are called opposition, but I'm going to begin by telling you that I'm not an opposition based on political affiliation. I am in opposition to marginalization. I am in opposition to oppression. I'm an opposition to corruption. And then I'm an opposition to bad behavior. The only country I call home is the Gambia. Sometimes I find it very difficult when I want to speak. Sometimes the people in authority might not understand that I am talking about the well-being of this country. They might see probably I'm trying to disrespect them. But I am speaking based on the voice of the voiceless who are outside there listening to us, who I represent. Yes, if you tell me, I will thank. It's not that they are not doing any effort. There is great improvement, even in my Fonyi Jaro. Not as when it started, when they thought that we are not part of the cake. So that's why I always advise the president, don't put people in position who are politically already polluted. Put people who have this, the interests of this nation in heart. I always said I would not be able to satisfy all the people of Fonyi Jaro that I represent, because not everyone voted for me. This is why anytime I speak here, not everyone is going to agree with me. But I want to also make sure a good number like that voted for me also agree. I always have that one. Like I said, Honorable Speaker, I am going to start with the economy. And then let me start thanking the President. I am now 3 years old in Parliament. I attended 3 State of the Nation address. If I am to rate, looking at the quality of the presentation, I will tell you this is number 1, which means there is great improvement. You look at the report is short and precise and then very easy to understand. Now, it is translation of words into action. Whether what is written here is what is on the ground. I am not speaking based on my own well-being. I would even thank this government. 3 years back, I was not a parliamentarian. There was someone occupying this seat. How much was he paid compared to mine? I'm 3 times paid more than him, which means I'll tell the president, thank you. And this is what I want for every institution. So this is why when I see the reality, I don't bend truth. I don't bend truth. And I'm not here directing it to one person. I say what is happening in the field. Honorable Speaker, and then Honorable Vice President, it is for a better Gambia. It is not about hate. You can even call me an opposition. Like I said, I'm an opposition to marginalization, and I'm even always angry to people who are self-centered, who always look about when in position, you only thinking of about yourself. Those people are never been my good friends. We are there to serve. This is why sometimes I say the problem that the president is having is about people he trusted, put them in position, they are not ready to serve, and they are only serving themselves, disappointing him. And now the blame all is going to the president. And he should learn from what has happened at the past. Every evil thing that happened in this country 22 years back, everything is directed to Yahya Jammeh. The same thing will go back to him if we don't act. Because we know what is happening. We said 60 anniversary symbolizing 6 decades of independence and collective progress. 60 years symbolizing independence and collective progress. Are we collectively progressing as a nation? Let's ask ourselves. Are we collectively progressing? Let me use this example even today. There was not enough food for everyone at the canteen there. You know why? The securities were not budgeted. So it means some people, even some of the staff, did not have food because of the securities were there before them, because they were left behind. Sometimes when we say we are pushing them. I say every institution you go, I have a relative there. I have a friend there. They cannot stand and speak out because a soldier was victimized for speaking what is affecting him. This is why everyone fears. Those people who now fear speaking will speak through some of us you call opposition. Opposition of marginalization. Don't think of opposition of party. So if you think the solution of making me silence is getting me to a ruling party, I'm not that type of person. Even if you get me to that party, you'll even kick me out because I'm not there for the silence. What can silence me is the right thing happening within our society. I am a son of a born farmer. I have 25 years work of community work. This is one of the things I'm more proud of because I know the community. Now you look at what the president said, economy. Let me just go by the economy first, because let's look at our budget. How is it funded? Sometimes they even blame some of us, we the National Assembly members. When institutions are able to achieve certain activities, they always come back to tell us that, okay, the National Assembly did not approve. But what are we relying on to fund our budget? 3 things, 3 activities. Revenue collection, which is always estimated. Borrowings. Today, how much is Gambia owing? Over $120 billion. And the other one is grants. Grants are what they would give us for free. We always say it's free, but they are always tied to our neck. That's why our government is even scared to condemn what is happening in Israel. Because we will not say it. We all know it's wrong. We call ourselves 99% Muslim. But they will not come to condemn. All they can say is go back to the negotiation table. That's the only language they will say. But they will not say the reality. Look, if you don't believe and trust yourself, you will never progress as a person or as a nation. You have to believe in what you are doing. The budget, the expectation as the total expenditure is projected at 44.7 billion. And then so far, if you look at the first quarter of 2025, the revenue stood at 6.67 billion, exceeding the projected amount. So, thanks to the Spanish agreement, 20,000 every youth was lining up there, trying to get a passport. That's what increased the revenue. Remember also 2025, our passport was also increased. Lancing was also increased. I have no problem, and I must thank the revenue collecting authorities for a good job, because what they are doing, I have seen it in reports I look at, because they are trying to minimize the leakages. They are doing their best. Now, what is more important here is how those funds are utilized, how those funds are managed. This is why I say that the president must appoint people who are not looking into politics. I know there are some projects, but I'm just waiting. And then that minister, if you don't mind, I will call the name and you tell me whether our standing order say no. Because I am not here. My people send me here to represent them. So speaking their voice, I would not be penalized, denied a project because I'm from an opposition area. And they are paying tax. When that happened, I'm going to call names. So I'm not going to hide. Even if you want, you can call standing order. And I said, okay, sorry, and I proceed. So we have to look at that. Honorable Speaker, we are talking about independence and collective progress. Like I said, what happened to this National Assembly? Yesterday's MP, in terms of income, and today's MP is totally different. The same I want for institutions. We are talking about 30% salary increment, fine. Now let's percentage also. Immediately that 30% was increased. What was the percentage increase for basic commodities? It even exceeded 30%. Sometimes when I say there is no control in this country, you people get angry with me. And this, I'm not only referring to one person. You look at even the CFA today. CFA is how much? And then remember, most of our basic commodities that we consume here are imported. What is the trading currency? It's not the dollar. In fact, the way things are going, people will start even rejecting goods in dollars because the dollars is becoming worthless. This is why sometimes when we speak, they think that we're trying to defend the ex-president. Because there was a time I could remember when the exchange rate was going higher, according to him, he will call the people he believes are economists, discuss with them, and then the following day he's going to even peg the prices of things, and you say dictator. And this was even happening in terms of transport fares. Today, even if 1 liter is increased, the drivers will start charging. If lemon used to be $10, they will tell you $15. What is the justification? And then the leadership is not ready to take the blame. As a leader, you must be ready to take the blame to make sure that you achieve your objective. But now you want people to praise you. That praise is even destroying you. If anyone tell you that we are happy, we are constructing road, yes, thanks to the Minister of Transport. Road construction is in my area. Thanks to the Minister of Energy. Electricity, they are half in there. But the next thing, whether we'll be able to even be paying for cash power. That's the thing we are worried, because no jobs. And then we are talking about the expansion, 90% electricity and then water. Lemon, where I come from, there are some compounds. 1 month, no water.
Point of order.
The pump is there, but no water.
There is point of order from the member for Central Badibu.
Yeah, I'm rising on 29.
Honorable member, can you put off your mic? Yes, can we hear the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on order 29, content of speeches. Every member shall restrict his or her observation to the subject on the discussion. The subject on the discussion is SoNA. It's not a adjournment debate. It's not an adjournment debate. So I want us to be focused on the SoNA and speak to the speech.
Honorable member for Central Badibu. Order, honorable members, please take your seat. Honorable Central Badibu, you cannot raise a point of order and you deliver judgment on that. No, you are asking him, you are urging him to, you cannot do that. You are.
I didn't deliver any judgment,
please.
but I'm buttressing.
No, take your seat.
For you to understand.
No, don't buttress. Please sit down. You are out of order. Honorable member, please continue.
Thank you very much, Speaker. You see, laws are very difficult to understand. So when you rush, you miss it. So I'm looking at all this, I'm trying to analyze. We look at the poverty rate, because we may think of, that's why I say economy. Because the poverty rate, if you go and make your research, is in the increase. Because I made a research, and then it showed me that 76% of the rural population are living in poverty. And this is where I come from. This is where I come from. Now, which means now, in terms of economy, I'm asking the Vice President, we have to look at the way the institutions are operating. Because we made some approvals here. That's why I started with the budget. All of us belong to different committees of the National Assembly. Sometimes when I talk, people will think, why am I talking? I have so many relatives, so many brothers in the security. I know what they are going through because I do visit them. I go to the camps. I see what is there. As I speak to you right now, there are 2 payments that are always made in a month. They receive this Friday salaries. The following Friday, they receive allowances. I cannot understand what kind of payment is going on. I have evidences. And then the senior men are always going on tour. What is the tour for? You go there, you visit this military or security post. It's the same problems that are there. The problems are not solved. When you go there, you look at 4 people sharing a room. That's why I'm talking about the economy. So it is not us who are building that hate for the security. It is those people in position. That's why I say that the president needs to look into people that he put into position. Because if those people are complaining, and I'm here to say, thank you, Barrow, they are keeping quiet. Because, like I said, one was out to express what he's going through, and then he's expelled from the military. Which means who is going to talk again? It is me now who will replace him, who cannot be expelled. Maybe at the end of the 5 years, you can make your budget to go and expel me there. That's not my problem. My problem, I am voted in this office to improve the well-being of my people, not to improve my well-being. This is why sometimes people go to my homes and they start taking photos. He's in Parliament, now being paid 100,000. He cannot even start constructing a house. I said, I am proud if I will die today, not owning a cement house, but I have improved the lives of 10 people from my community. Definitely, I will thank God. And this is what I'm here for. I'm not here to build a story building. So those of my critics who are thinking of replacing me here, I don't mind what you say about me. What I mind is improving the lives of people who put me in this position. And then again, why I'm talking about this economy again. A friend of mine now lives in the UK. He came to the airport. There is tax that has been paid. Last year, now he was a Gambian, but now he's an American citizen, I can say. When he came last year, he said that he paid for, how do you call it, a visa. That's what he told me. And then the visa cost something like 20-something thousand. This year he came back, thinking that he's not going to pay anything. Because they said that no, when they took his, the passport, they did not even put there the visa. He cannot even see that one. Because last year, it was just like here, we trusted people very much. When he paid the money, he don't even check his passport. Whether it's stamped or something is put there, he just pick it up. And this year he came back, he found that last year, his money was collected for nothing. Now today, if you talk about corruption, they say no corruption. The corruption died 2017. Now it's no corruption. Now this is even making people stop using our airport. This is even killing our economy. We need to understand. We need to fight these cases. There are people who not even want to come through our airport. They will start to go through Dakar. Is that good for us? It was few people yesterday saying that all is about infrastructure development. That one is not. How can people survive? Now we are doing the same to road construction. Not even money to pay fare. Let me move to the next one. Now I've talked about national security and the energy sector. The State of the Nation address. What do we understand by that? To me, my understanding is, at the moment, the condition of the country, if you look at it. How is it? So they are not saying that the state referring to the country nation address. They say the condition. People are talking about the constitution that is not yet implemented. Like I always say, our problem here is not about the laws. We have very good laws. We don't implement laws. We don't implement policies. Put people in a position. In fact, everything is there, good laws. And we are all definitely witnesses to this. Most of us here always go out for international engagement. Anytime we present, people want to learn from the Gambia. But I tell them, if you go there, what is there and what we are telling you here, may God forgive me. So we have to. It's implementation. That's what I mean. We have to implement what we discussed. Now, when you look at energy, The president here made this statement. There is one burning one, which was not reported in the SoNA. Which one was that Gambians against looted assets. That was the condition of the country.
There is point of order
You have been
from
trying
member for.
I was just trying to grasp on
Sorry, honorable member. Yeah, there's point of order from member for Lower Salom. Can we hear that?
Honorable Speaker, I was struggling to get this order. Order 17, behaviors of the members. G, no member shall, without the consent of the Speaker, bring into assembly anything other than paper, books, or other documents that connected collectively to the business of the assembly. Honorable Speaker, today we are dealing on the solar, but the member for Jarol cannot mislead Parliament. We approved a document that is the revenue and expenditures of 2025. He said our deficit is $120 billion. And when our deficit is 11 billion, he cannot mislead Parliament. You said 120 billion.
Order.
Yes.
Order. Take your seat, please.
Yes.
Order, honorable member Fonyi Jaro. Can you behave there, please? There's a point of order. You cannot interrupt it. You're in a debate or on an argument. Can't do that. Yeah, can you hear that point of order?
If they are giving us a research document, they need to give us factual figures of our budget. He cannot say we are borrowing $120 billion when our deficit is 11 billion.
All right,
it's an unfair statement.
All right, take your seat. Honorable members, the member for Lower Salem rose on point of order under 17G, and which reads, no member shall, without the consent of the Speaker, bring into the Assembly anything other than papers, books, or other documents directly connected with business of the Assembly. And his arguments are that the honorable member stated that we have over 100 and something billion debt, while the national budget of 2025 approved indicated a deficit of 11 billion. He went further to state that the honorable member was misleading Parliament, and he relied on that provision for me to rule him out of order. Under the circumstances, honorable members, for whatever reason and intent or purposes, the honorable member for Lower Salem have in rising to order 17G in respect of his argument is misplaced. I want to also state that honorable members have a leeway to say whatever they want to say in respect of the State of the Nation address SoNA within the land, borders, air, and sea of the Gambia's jurisdictions, because the address addresses all matters, all departments affecting the country. Now, when it comes to correcting members or observing them is for the member speaking. And I believe we have the mover of the motion or the one who will respond. Of course, the mover of the motion, that His Excellency the President, represented by the Vice President and Cabinet Ministers. They are here to listen to debate and opinions or suggestions offered by members of Parliament with view of addressing them. If there are any misconstruction or misrepresentation of facts as per what the President delivered, the Vice President and ministers may correct them. But it's also in the best interest of Parliament if a member is by either omission or whatever reason misinformed Parliament, not deliberate, and it is in our best interest for any other member who have the facts to correct members of Parliament. That's my ruling. Honorable member, please continue.
Honorable
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Now, with regards to energy,
it's not a
according to the SoNA, I'm not reading directly, I just make bullet points, like the President stated, like search on oil. According to the report, a total of 5 wells were tested, drilled in the Gambia, 2 under his administration, and then the 2 that were drilled was in 2018. The results of both wells, according to the report, they are all promising. And in 2019, BP was granted A1 Lansing, paying government 10 million. My comparison is now with the statement when it became a national debate all over. What did the minister say? The minister, this was a report reported in the Point newspaper on the 11th, according to the energy minister, stating that the Gambia has not yet made any oil discussion. I'm not even confused now. I just need clarity. Just listen, I said I don't understand. It's not your problem. I'm not an English. I'm a Yola. I don't speak English at home. I speak Yola. I said I don't understand.
Honorable member for Fonyi Jarol, please address the speaker and ignore.
They want to distract me. Quote, although the Gambia has been exploring for oil for many years, it has not yet made any discoveries. As a result, according to the minister, the country cannot move on to the next phase.
Honorable member for Fonyi Jarol, I don't know. Can you please put off your mic? I heard you saying that according to the minister. Yeah, you should. No, wait. Yeah, you should always let us know that you want to quote a document. And then we will know, because I only heard you said according to the minister. Which minister? Please, Honorable, no. When I finish, you use your mic and respond. Please, can you go ahead?
Like I said, I just need clarity. I said that I'm not saying that this is what happened. I don't understand. So that's what I'm asking for the minister to help me understand. I said what I breastfeed is Yola. Even that one I cannot speak very well. So just have that understanding. So it's like when you look at, because it has become a national debate. I said we are looking at the status of the country. People have debated on it. And then you look at the SoNA, what the president said and what people are saying is totally different. So this is why I said that what they wrote when he was interviewed, the minister, I did not understand. I'm not saying that they are not the same. But based on my language understanding, I don't. And then let me just move, because they're even trying to finish my ideas. That's what they are good at. Let me move to maybe the international scene. Honorable Speaker, we need to do enough. Like we are saying, okay, the Gambia relationship with other countries is improving. Maybe now so many embassies open in so many countries. Sometimes it sounds very funny to me. When even our own citizens immediately just cross the border here, you are even humiliated, disgraced. Even just when you cross, ask people who are even traveling to Senegal, what they face on their way to Senegal. It has been happening even in Turkey. We have representatives all those places. We call these people illegal migration. And then we say illegal migration. When they want to go through the right way, we don't give them visa. And then when they move out, we say illegal migration. When you come to the international charter, well, they said as human beings are freedom of movement of people. I'm not quoting exactly what is there, but there is a chapter that's called free movement of people. These people are not criminals. Where do they end up? In camps where they are harassed, beaten, and then the worst part of it, they are Africans in African countries. This is where they are facing all this torturing. What are we doing? This is why sometimes in leadership, African leadership, the language that people understand is the hard language. If today this country is given to me, I might be looking for employees outside. So what I'm trying to emphasize here, Honorable Vice President, we are not saying that we are not doing enough, but we have a lot to do. We don't have to wait when people start crying, that's the time we act. Our people who are suffering in Turkey, our people who are suffering in Mauritania, Niger, you can just name it. And these are African countries. Some of these countries are even part of the ECOWAS. Then what is now the essence of this ECOWAS? This is why sometimes when they say that ECOWAS is just an interest group, it no longer serves the interests of ECOWAS citizens. Some people are angry. I'm just from Togo, where I attended, they said adequate financing on health. It sounds even funny. All this finance we are talking will be borrowing money to finance the projects. Two, all the budgeting, the figures are in what? Dollars or euro. So we will not even in African currency. How are we developing as a nation? And we say 60 years. We are proud to say that now the road is constructed. Now Nyani is having electricity. What is wrong before when you don't have electricity? So do people wait? Well, if you don't take me there, that's fine. So, Honorable Vice President, the only thing I oppose is marginalization and suppression. We are here for that. What I see here is Gambia. I'm not here to disrespect anyone. But I am urging that, because why sometimes I quote from the report. I'm using this as an example. I know you may not be happy. When the report of the commission of the Ghana Commission report was submitted to the president, the president said that it was submitted to him March 2019. But he said he did not know what is in the report. Now, who can tell me, because this is a summary of different reports from different institutions, who can tell me that the president now knows all the reports that are submitted within the institution? Even the president don't even know what is happening within the institutions. It is you. Who should even be there for the president? It is us who should inform the president what these people are doing and what they are saying, whether it's the same, not to come here to praise them. We don't need these people. It is the office that we are talking about. So these people cannot go like they are going around. What they presented here, even in the report here, if you look at on security matters, they said our security now, they are exceptional. We can respect them. They have been transformed. After saying this one, I saw again on the newspapers, peacekeepers 196 coming from this place, Nigeria. Which peace are they going to keep here? Are you going to tell us here they are coming to protect? I don't even know. What is the trust now between our securities? Now we are only there to put good. Let's look at, just read there, the comment. We praise them. They are now being transformed. A lot of training. But go there to their allowances. We should not allow that. Go to the military barracks, go to the security posts, the police and everywhere, and find out for yourself what is happening there. So I'm not going to work that. If those people bring those reports, and when I make my oversight functions, it's totally different from what is written here, I cannot come here and be silenced. I have to say it. Even this privatization, instead of now, maybe just how would I even say, developing so that we have job expansion, we are killing jobs. I used to say it here. No one is even hearing the name of AMRC because AMRC was not given its responsibilities. Yes, we constituted a commission where we are paying members 500,000, 400,000, 300,000. When we have an institution that even the director of that institution is paid less than 50,000. Instead of delegating the responsibility to that institution, we went and formed a commission. That today now we are even going to investigate that commission. Come on. What is going on? Now we are going to investigate that commission. We have to be honest here. No one hates what is happening. I said we have to develop it as a nation. I'm not here to bribe anyone. And I'm not here to look for any recognition. And I'm here to point out whatever I disagree. And then, Honorable Speaker, before any observation, I have closed. Thank you. Now you can observe.
Thank you, member for Fonyi Jarol. I now invite the member for Banjul North to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, before I dwell into my submission proper, I will want to seize this opportunity to join my honorable colleagues to thank His Excellency the Vice President and all the ministers present here with your technocrats from your various ministries. Honorable Speaker, I will also want to seize the opportunity to commend His Excellency the President for fulfilling his constitutional mandate as required by law to come to the Parliament at least once every year to address the Parliament and also the public in terms of his policies and programs for the year. Honorable Speaker, this year's SoNA, like other members have mentioned, is indeed very apt and also very interesting. But as required, I am here to also share with the Assembly my observations as far as the entire statement given by the President is concerned. Honorable Speaker, I will start by the diplomacy and international cooperation. We have seen different points mentioned by the President from number 7 to number 15 of the speech, talking about the achievement registered by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in terms of diplomacy and international cooperation. But I am still also very concerned about whether there is any foreign policy as far as our foreign affairs is concerned, which I believe His Excellency the Vice President will be in a better position to inform me, understanding that the Minister of Foreign Affairs is not here. Because I believe whatever we are doing internationally, there must be a guide. We must also know what we are benefiting from other countries, because that is why we are taking taxpayers' money to open embassies and also to pay personnel working in those embassies on our behalf. So I want to know whether there is any foreign policy. Honorable Speaker, going through the SoNA speech, it is indeed a marathon speech, looking at the different and the diverse area that we are mentioned and shared with us by the President. But I will also want to highlight one of the critical issues, or I can say one of the important issues that the President mentioned was the cost of the electricity meters. That was supposed to be $8,500 and reduced up to $500 within the project covered. And to a layman who is outside there, they need to understand where and where this project is covered. They should be aware. But if you just say within the project covered areas, where and where, it's very important for the president to be very specific on this information, because these are informations that the public will be interested in. And also going further, Honorable Speaker, it's not only about the issue of the cost being reduced from $8,500 to $500. It's indeed laudable. But we want to also understand whether the government is also committed through the Ministry of Energy to see how best they can reduce the cost of the tariff of electricity in this country. It is very important, because you cannot give me that opportunity to get an electricity meter, which is a cash power, for $500, and it will cost me more just to get access to electricity. It doesn't make any sense. I think it should come side by side. And I also think it's very important. Honorable Speaker, going further, even though I had a very brief discussion with the minister, but I think it is also very important, that is the Minister of Energy. It is also important for him to respond to this, because as a city, and I can say the only city in this country, and the city of the future for that matter, low water pressure is still a reality in this city, which is a very unfortunate situation. I heard other members talking about low water pressure in other sites or other parts of the country, but I am telling you, the city, to be honest, this should be a matter of the past. We should not be experiencing this, but I believe the minister will be honored to stand in front of us and tell us how far they have gone in terms of improving that situation. Because we, the Banjulians, want to know. We, the city dwellers, want to know. Because this is something that is unacceptable. Honorable Speaker, many members talk about the issue of livestock. I even had a member saying that there is a place where he saw over 500 goats and 5,000 rather goats and 10,000 rams. But to be honest, this is not reflecting the reality on the ground. And of recent, the Eid that we have just passed, that is the Tobaski, many families struggled to get a ram because it was very costly. The price was very high. And this is something that we need to look inwards to, because I can remember, because I had a conversation with veterans in this country, saying that other countries were coming to Gambia to get rams and bulls by then. Because of what? Because of what we are doing in terms of producing livestock in this country. I think it can still happen again. We can still do it as a country. That is, if we are ready to do that. Honorable Speaker, I think I would not do justice without commending the Ministry of Fisheries through the Minister of Fisheries. We have seen on point 99 that talks about to enhance local fishing and support rural fishing communities, even though we are not from the rural area, we are the city. The government distributed 20 well-equipped fishing boats in January 2025. I want to inform this August Assembly. As Banjul North, we benefited, and we want to thank the Honorable Minister of Fisheries. And the community of Ndangan benefited, and they have already started operation, and I believe, like I told them, this is a model boat, which I believe will deliver a lot of boats in the future. And I believe they are working towards that. And I will also want to urge the ministry to also put up a monitoring mechanism. I'll be doing that on your behalf sometimes. But I believe it is also important for the ministry to be monitoring the progress in terms of the operationalization of the boat, because I believe it is also very important for sustainability purpose. But notwithstanding, I just want to say that thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that laudable initiative. Honorable Minister, Honorable Speaker, going to the issues surrounding energy and climate change, I was expecting His Excellency the President to talk about measures put in place in terms of addressing issues surrounding the butchering of the Tanvi wetland. That, for example, Banjul is currently affected. And I think this is a call of concern because as a city, we believe our Tanvi wetland is part of the ecosystem that is very important, understanding that Banjul is less than 1 meter below sea level. And we need to understand this, meaning if we are not careful and also put up better mechanisms to mitigate climate change, Banjul might submerge 50% here against 2050, which should be a concern for every one of us, especially us, the city dwellers, and the entire country. Honorable Speaker, as other members have said, not have been said, but it's also very important to just not to repeat some of the things that they have said, but to say it in a better way. The issues surrounding education, even though it is under infrastructure and human capital development. The President did mention about it worth noting, that is point 137, page 30 of 49. It is worth noting that 4,024 new schools have been built, accompanied by 6,400 new classes. These are all very good or laudable initiatives in terms of enhancing and also improving our education system, which is indeed a requirement as far as achieving our SDG is concerned. But, Honorable Speaker, I am also very concerned with the existing schools that we have, especially within Banjul, and Banjul not to be specific, on the basic and secondary education. I can name a school like Kampama School. If you go to that school right now, the toilet, you even wonder whether the children are using those toilets, because hygiene-wise, it is not good at all, and it is a concern. The drainage system of the school. Today, if you go to the school, if it rains, you will want to get a boat to get access to some part of the school, which I think it is also another concern. Their library is also another big concern because they don't have a proper library. And in one class, you have more than 40 students. How do you expect those children to learn? And how can they even understand? 40 students or more in one class? So I think the Ministry of Basic Education, Basic and Secondary Education needs to improve on that. Another school in my constituency, that is the Gambia Senior Secondary School, which is my alma mater, is very important. Understanding that right now, they have issues when it comes to their labs, especially the woodwork and also the metalwork labs. They don't even have these two labs. And for God's sake, this is a senior secondary school whereby if you complete this particular from this school, the next level is to go to either college or university. And if you are interested, and also understanding that we are all advocating for sustainable development as far as our country is concerned, we also want young people to have at least skills, which is indeed very important. And I will also want to commend the Minister of Higher Education on that. We have seen your efforts and your team in terms of making sure that there are a lot of debate centers in this country, which is indeed improving the issues surrounding technical and vocational training in the Gambia. And I believe this is the way forward if we really want to develop. We must give the required capacity, but also, like I said, the needed capacity in terms of skills so that we'll be able to do a lot of things for ourselves and make sure that we start producing and exporting for that matter. Of recent, even though it is not mentioned by the President, and I understand because it recently happened, that is the Gambia Madrasa Integrated Strategy 2025-2029. is a laudable initiative. And I also once again want to commend the Ministry of Higher Education for also listening to the Gambian people in terms of their voices, understanding that these are very key things that we should put into our education system to improve ourselves and also better deliver for better services in the future. Honorable Speaker, one of the most passionate things under my purview, which I always make emphasis of, is the issue of health. Honorable Speaker, I think if you know me, you will know that I am a mental health champion. I am also a nutrition champion. And I also champion the attainment of the universal health coverage, which is a requirement universally, because this is something that we believe it is the way forward in improving and making sure that there is access to healthcare services in this country. And we are doing our level best, and we are seeing also the ministry doing their level best in terms of making sure that we attain the universal health coverage. But I was also expecting His Excellency, the Vice President, to dwell more on issues surrounding mental health, which is the cornerstone of the country. Because these are things that we cannot just ignore. These are things that are happening in this country, and it is in the increase. For example, the Tanka that is one of the treatment centers we have in this country, or I can say the only treatment center we have in this country when it comes to mental health issues. What improvement is happening there? What have they done in making sure that proper mechanisms or resources are put in place to make sure that people that are mentally disabled or are suffering from mental disorder are supported? Of recent, the Ministry of Health was able to validate the first ever mental health policy in this country. And one of the key things that touched my heart was the issue of addressing people that are mentally disordered and that are on the streets. What is government doing towards addressing those issues? Because these are the most vulnerable people that are on the streets, mentally suffering from mental disorder, and don't even know what they are doing. So I think it is very important for the Ministry of Health also to inform the President that they are also doing something towards that. Because we have seen organizations like HEMDA, they are doing extremely well, going all the way extra mile on the streets to support them by cleaning them, saving them, providing them with food and refreshment. But that is not enough. We need to take care of those people. And I think this is a very big concern. The issue of nutrition, His Excellency, the Vice President is here. It's under your purview. We did the needful as Parliament. We enacted, like I said before, the first ever nutrition law in Africa. So now it is to government, through your leadership, to move forward the agenda of nutrition in this country, understanding the importance of nutrition, not only in the Gambia, but globally. And seeing Gambia having the first ever nutrition law in Africa, it is something that is very laudable. But it's very, very important to see government commitment towards making sure that nutrition activities are being implemented through government funds in this country. And I urge His Excellency, the Vice President, to take it up with his team to make sure that such things accelerate in this country. Honorable Speaker, as other members did, because we have a lot, like I said, it is a marathon speech, so we must dwell into it. But we will also try by all means to go to the most important points. But going for the Honorable Speaker, the issue of gender, children, and social welfare. Honorable Speaker, it is indeed very important, understanding that this ministry is very important. But going through the statement made by His Excellency the President concerning the issue of the Women Enterprise Fund. That is, according to the President, 15.88 million was disbursed from the Women Enterprise Fund to support 138 women groups across the country. 26.3% of the amount disbursed was successfully recovered during the period. Honorable Speaker, with due respect, it is important to acknowledge the recovery aspect of it, but I was expecting the President to go further, to give us information about the success stories as far as the disbursement was concerned, which is very important. Because I cannot talk about giving some people funds, or especially women of this country, and not being able to single out one achievement from the total amount that was given. And I think they need to improve on this. And also I will urge the Ministry of Gender to give the President next time the required information, so that he'll be able to communicate not only to the Parliament but to the entire country, so that we will know that there is very positive impact towards what we are appropriating as Parliament and what the Ministry is disbursing to the women of this country, so that it will even encourage us as members of Parliament tomorrow, when we save any fund during the budget session, we can at least say, seeing what the Gender Ministry is doing towards changing the lives of women in this country, let us also take this amount of funds saved and reallocate it to them, which is very important. But if we don't see that, then we are in the limbo, and this is called information blackout. We will not know what to do. And I think it is very important such a thing to be considered. We want to know how these funds are impacting our women. We want to see them, which is indeed very important. Honorable Speaker, the issue of youth development in this country. I am seeing the Minister of Youth and Sports. It is indeed a great honor to see that young people are being empowered in this country. But understanding that the young people are the citadels of the nation, the cream of the society, the current and the future leaders of this country, understanding also they constitute the majority of the population based on demographic. Honorable Speaker, seeing this amount of 1,000 young people, among whom, because it is saying on entrepreneurship training, which is point 171, page 37 of 49, on entrepreneurship training and access to startup grants and loans for young people. NEDIT, that is the National Enterprise Development Initiative under the purview of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, has over the past year trained more than 1,000 young people, among whom are Bagwe returnees. Laudable initiative. But we're talking about more than 60% of our population are young people. And you cannot tell me that less than 5,000 young people are being empowered out of millions of young people, or million plus of young people in this country. This needs to be revisited. In terms of resource mobilization, I think the Ministry of Youth and Sports needs to accelerate and see how best, also understanding that they have all the capacities under the leadership of the ministry to mobilize more funds for the young people to be empowered in this country. Going further, the issue of sports in this country. Honorable Speaker, understanding that sports is one of the ways out of poverty, which is the truth. We have seen what sports is doing in this world, what sports is doing in Gambia. We have also seen the efforts by the Ministry of Youth and Sports in terms of improving sports participation, even at the level of international games. But yet still, I believe there is need to invest more in sports. And like I said, it is one of the ways out of poverty. If we invest in sports, we will never regret it as a country. And I think it should be a priority for the ministry to make sure that they invest in sport more. It's very important, because if we have more young people involved or participating in sports, so many things can change in this country. And I urge the ministry to adhere to what I'm just saying. Honorable Speaker, on point 179, His Excellency mentioned about the recent validation of the land policy under the West African coastal area. This is indeed a very laudable initiative, seeing that for the first time, the Gambia is experiencing the first ever land policy. But notwithstanding, the issue of implementation is always our problem. We have seen a lot of things that we do in this country. And trust me, I am always proud when I travel outside this country, understanding that Gambians are very good when it comes to articulating and also putting up, good write-ups for presentation. But our only problem is implementation. And I am urging the ministry also to work towards that, because this is something that is badly needed right now as a country. Because the issue of land policy is very key. We have seen a lot of land dispute in this country. And one of the key fundamental things, that is things that we are happening in this country. You will see an investor will come all the way outside from this country and come and say, I want to invest. And through the government, he or she will be allocated a land. And when he's allocated a land, 1 or 2 years, he will decide to leave the country and decide to sell it, for example, to estate owners in this country, which is bringing a lot of problems in this country. If you want to use our lands, use them, fine, it's okay, do what you have to do. But when you leave it, leave our lands here, because it belongs to Gambians. And I think this is something very, very important. Honorable Speaker, I think going back to issues surrounding basic and secondary education, I would want to urge the Minister and Honorable Minister, I know you are doing extremely well, to be honest. I'm also following a lot of your activities, but I am also appealing if your ministry can consider a digital literacy in the Gambia's junior and secondary education curriculum, understanding how the world is moving right now when it comes to issues surrounding tech, that is technology. We are growing as a country, we are growing globally. If this can be inculcated so that our young people will understand and also have basic, for example, junior secondary school students to at least have understanding when it comes to coding and electronics. By the way, before they reach their senior secondary school or complete, they can even do more, start fixing drones, flying drones, and doing so many things in terms of making sure that, and we have seen the improvement in terms of AI in this world. So many things, you don't just have to suffer anymore. You just have to apply the AI, whatever facility that you have, and you get what you want in terms of resource. So seeing such a curriculum like digital literacy will be indeed very important. And I will also inform you that an organization called the Women in STEM in the Gambia are doing a lot in terms of supporting women and girls to at least have those tech ideas and improve their lives. So if you can collaborate with them through the leadership of Madam Kodu Jeng, I believe it is very important. Honorable Speaker, the last but not the least, the issues surrounding gender also, because the Ministry of Gender is responsible for children. I am suggesting for the ministry to at least create a child fund to take care of the minimum standards of child care residential centers in the Gambia, because this is also very important. Of recent, we have seen what happened in Brufut, in one of the madrasas, the outbreak, the illness outbreak. I think if there is a child fund created by the government through the Ministry of Gender, this will indeed contribute a lot. Honorable Speaker, I had a member talking about the issue of mild. Honorable Speaker, are you with us? Honorable Speaker? You want to observe?
No, I'm not trying to observe you, honorable member.
You want to observe?
No. I just want to move a motion for us to sit beyond 6 o'clock.
That's
It's almost 6:30 now, 5:30.
no, we already agree.
Yes. Honorable member, yes, please. Open your me, yes. Can you move your motion?
Speaker, we have agreed with the speaker that we should work to finish. So I'm moving a motion for the assembly to sit beyond 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Any seconder? Member for Woolly is?
Yes, thank you. Seconded. Huh? Seconded.
It has been moved and seconded that we sit beyond 6 to finish the order paper. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. That is how it. Honorable member, please continue.
Yeah, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I just want to talk about my last point, that is the issue of the Malto prison. Last year's SoNA speech, the president did mention that government have plans to relocate the prisons. And we were very hopeful and still very hopeful that that will happen. Because looking at the place right now, there is need, and their need for that matter, to relocate the area to another place so that the government can use it for another purpose. So this is something that I also want to put to His Excellency, the Vice President, to discuss with the President and also the entire cabinet to consider and also do the needful as far as the issue of the relocation of the Malto prison is done, and if possible, as soon as possible. In that regards, I want to thank each and every one of you, and also especially Honorable Speaker for giving me the floor. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Member for Banjul North. I now invite the member for Central Badibu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to salute the Vice President and the able cabinet ministers and their technicians being with us since in the morning for this sacred national duty. Honorable Speaker, yes, some call it fulfillment of constitutional provision by the President. I call it partial fulfillment. I will not call it 100% fulfillment, because it's about administration, about challenges and our success stories. But by looking at the report, it's more of successes than challenges that I have scrutinized from the document itself. Honorable Speaker, I believe we have done more as a nation than what is written here. Some of the institutions are not reflected here in the report. And starting with the National Assembly, I expect something to be said about the National Assembly here in the President's statement. It's not seen. Not much is said about it. Honorable Speaker, the speech itself talks about both achievements and challenges. As I said, I see more of achievements being put by the President, not the challenges that we face as a nation. Honorable Speaker, I will start with the diplomacy and international cooperation. The Gambia's international presence has been magnified by successful hosting of the 15th OIC Summit in 2024. Yes, we successfully hosted it until we have the chairmanship. But after the chairmanship, what have we achieved as a country? Since the president been nominated or selected as the chairperson, he should be able to tell us what are some of the engagements that he did internationally or nationally that will boost the image of the union or the country. Honorable Speaker, he talks about Human Rights Council and Gambia also being the capital of human rights. This is a country that we have seen that human rights are still being violated. The lacuna in the human rights laws are not still addressed as a nation. We talk of the famous Public Order Act, and I want the Vice President to take this to the President. This is part of his legacy. When we say we need to transform, we need to build our nation, democracy is a package. We must allow citizens to come out and express themselves. This is happening in the countries where democracy is born. And I'm not with the view that people who said if you allow them, they will cause destruction. No. The people who protested against the anti-corruption bill, they came up to the parliament here. Even an ant was not trampled on. Peacefully presented their concern to the speaker and they went home. We must give people a chance to come out and speak up their minds. It brings down tensions rather than using our military or paramilitary or police to harass our citizens. So I don't see Gambia as the home of human rights. I don't see it unless and until the Public Order Act is revisited. I remember the former Minister of Justice, Batambiru, brought this bill to the parliament and it was later retrieved. The reason known. This was the period that we said we are going to have transition to look at some of the laws that are not progressive. Honorable Speaker, being the chairperson of OIC, we have seen what is happening between Iran and Israel. The president should come out in totality to show a condemnation. We should be bold enough to speak of our voice, to condemn where injustice, where undemocratic behavior, where abuse of power is manifested by any power. Silence will create an atmosphere whereby people will not have trust in our leadership. We must condemn the act because human beings must be protected. We belong to international organizations that champion the cause of human beings to be respected, not to be butchered like animals. Honorable Speaker, moving to the national security. Honorable Speaker, the ID card issue has been a problem in this country.
Honorable Member for Central Badibu, there is no a particular time where Batamidu brought a Public Order Act and then it was withdrawn. Or if you can tell us when.
All right. My record shows me it came here, I received a document, and my members can attest. Maybe by then you are in Upper Salum or Lower Salum, I don't know. But you can go and visit yourself. Maybe you will have a better time. Honorable Speaker, the ID card issue. This is a challenge in the country. And the government of the day must make sure that people have access to ID card. Because it's an identification. And most of the things that we do here, if you don't have ID card, it is very difficult for you to, in fact, access some fundings that you get from diaspora remittances. And not only that, it's a yardstick that measures your nationality. So people not having access to it is a denial of their fundamental right. And decentralization of ID cards started before. You know, Kerewane, if you go there, you can have an access to ID card. But what happened in Kerewane now? The machine that they use, to make ID card with has been moved to Farafin. We don't know the reason. If the vice president can be able to inform the August cadre, we want to know why is it that now you cannot access it in Kerewane? Because decentralization is something that the government promised us. The people, wherever you live, you will have access to some of these fundamentals. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, inflation. I think it was also hyperbolic to say that inflation has reduced from 17.3 to 10.2. It's not realistic. By looking at the current situation in the country, this statement is exaggerated. I don't know who must have informed the president, but even people who are not economists, but by looking at the situation in the country, you know that this is not realistic unless and until evidences are put forward. Not only this written statement will suffice. Honorable Speaker, coming to transportation, I will say kudos to the present government in promoting both urban and rural road development. Last week, I traveled up to Fatoto. From Badibu to Fatoto, this is a high-class road that I traveled, and I came back to Salikeng. This cannot be possible without government investing into rural road construction. So on that note, I want to thank the government of the day and the honorable members of this parliament who tried to that nail to see to it that funds are allocated to construct our own roads. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, coming to electricity, energy, we all know those from the rural areas, there are projects, ongoing projects in our constituencies on rural electrification. We have to thank the ministry for the giant step that they have taken. Though they don't get electricity, but there is high hope. Because the poles are erected, wires have been put in place, so we expect, but it will be ideal for the minister to inform us how soon will our people benefit from electricity. And communities, there are still more communities that are without even a single pool. So I want the minister to tell us whether there are other plans or whether there are another sources of funding that they are hoping that the whole country will get electricity. Because the president said at least 90%. But I think that's on the high side too. Unless and until the minister come and tell us what means, ways and means do they have to convince us that it will be 90%.
Remember, it has been brought to our attention that we lack quorum. Continue. Okay, you can continue. Now we have.
Honorable Speaker, a lot has been said about the oil exploration, but this parliament will bear me witness that Gambia government at point in time benefited from the failure of implementation of an agreement between the British Petroleum Company and our energy department that made us to earn a lot of money in dollars. So the president did not tell us when this money came to our account, how was it used? We all knew. The report tells us that in 2019, BP was granted the AI Lansing. They paid the government 10 million US dollar. We need to know how was this 10 million US dollar utilized. It will be very important, paramount to the citizens of this country to know, though it came here as a supplementary bill, but we need a report, a feedback on its implementation. Honorable Speaker, coming to agriculture and security. Honorable Speaker, we all agree that agriculture is the vertebral column of every prosperous nation. That's the backbone of every developed country. Honorable Speaker, our agriculture is not moving. Evidences are here. We have a lot of tractors. Since Jembe's days, we remember, even the chiefs, some prominent party supporters were given tractors. And the government came in 2016, 2017, all the tractors were confiscated. But the impact of those tractors given, you can measure it with the individuals who had it. But even the society, its impact was low. Because there was no technical team or mechanic team in the regions that will take care of these tractors. We have what we call parfitters, try and error, they will just cause more damage to the machines than the work. And most of those machines are not alive now. Maybe the parts could be alive. Honorable Speaker, agriculture must be linked. I said it in this parliament here. We must have production. We must have what we call as transportation, storage, processing, and marketing.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to refer the member through an observation on the issue of agriculture. You've seen the transformation. Page 20. Agriculture is not limited to only crop production. Livestock, Gambia is an increase in terms of livestock production as well. And if you look at the intervention that have also already been done on the His Excellency's government in terms of farm input, these are all geared towards to address bumper harvest. So you must have an input, and that is why the 108 tractors are not just for give and take. There's a mechanism whereby the farmer will pay a percentage and government also subsidize. At least the issue of maintenance and upkeep will be burdened not more on the government, but on the farmer. Thank you very much.
I know you are a smart student, but you should have given me time to lecture you in agriculture. I think I have a mastery of the subject over you. Honorable Speaker, it's not bad for you to come and try to defend, but I'm not here to defend, or rather I'm here to talk on development, how to make sure that the problem is addressed. Honorable Speaker, I talk about production. We have done a lot in terms of supporting production, but storage still remains a challenge. Processing remains a challenge. Marketing remains a challenge in this country. If you travel through Nyomi Hakalang Road, you will see a lot of spoilage of mangoes. And those mangoes could be processed into juice. We support our local farmers that own those mangoes. We need to do processing so that youths will be employed at that end, so that we can supply our supermarket, so that we can also participate in the trade that is happening within the sub-region. Why do we have the cargo flight at the airport? It should serve as a storage for these fruit crops so that we can take them to the West African market or beyond. But this is not happening in the country. And the mangoes that we have, we cannot consume all. There is no proper preservation taking place. As a nation that is ready to address food security, these are the things that we need, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, not only that, the vegetable that is grown in this country here, almost all the women in the rural Gambia are engaged in vegetable production. During the COVID, they could not have sale. We understood the situation. But up to now, they will go to the Lumos and give out their products at any price that is available. This is sympathetic. We must have sympathy for our women. As a country, we must see how best we can try to build cold stores to keep those products if they cannot be sold at the market. Honorable Speaker, coming to the tractors, of recent, we were promised that a lot of tractors will be procured. But up to now, it's not clear to farmers how will they have access to these tractors. We don't want to politicize some of these things. The reason why agriculture failed, most of the agricultural projects are politicized in our country. We have seen it. The people who are champion farmers are not given the opportunity to realize their potential. Gambia must stop importing rice. I expected the president to tell us that by 2026, no rice importation. Jahali Pachar should be revived. Badibu Sali Kenye, all the furrows should be cultivated. They must be under cultivated. We must fight against salt intrusion and reclaim our lands, our fertile lands. Our grandparents, we are not using the Tubab Manu. We must say bye-bye to Tubab Manu and be healthy in our community. This government can do it. We can do it. It's just a matter of prioritizing. We know how much you spend on the roads. We are happy about road construction. But it's high time we also look into food production. Honorable Speaker, fertilizer. Honorable Speaker, I don't think fertilizer is going to be sustainable. We spend a lot of funds subsidizing fertilizer. At the end of the day, the fertilizer will go into the wrong hands. This is clearly, people were caught with a lot of fertilizer trying to take it to Senegal. And up to now, justice is not done. Honorable Speaker, and the price, the president said it was from 2,500 to 1,500, 1,100. But 2,500, where on earth? Not in my constituency. There was no time in history a bag of fertilizer was sold at that cost of 2,500 in my constituency. So the ministers and the ministries must inform the president on things that are realistic. That's why I always love, and I will always fight for that until I leave this parliament, for the president to be sitting here sometime, to be listening to us. I know he's not getting some of these feedbacks. Do you understand? So he must be part and parcel of us. If you talk about national unity, you want us to be oneness. You have to be in the parliament to listen to your MPs, to do the debate and give you the facts. Honorable Speaker, coming to the same with agriculture. Agriculture, as alluded by my majority leader, is not about crop production. Even fishing, aquaculture is part of agriculture. And the Ministry of Fisheries of recent made a giant move to make sure that some of the fishing centers are supported with boats, nets, hooks, masses. We salute them for that. But that's not enough. We have to look at the sustainability scheme. We have to look at who are the beneficiaries. We have to ensure that these nets, these are public funds that are used into this. This is not MPP fund. The fund belongs to the government of the Gambia. So we don't expect the MPP members to go and set up a committee. Only their members are part of that committee. That's not fair. So if you say that the country belongs to all of us, you want to see us as partners, we have to be involved in the management, because we approve some of these funds and we speak on your behalf, we ratify some of these funds. So we expect our people to be part of the management committee. If it is not given to the VDC, if there is a special committee, it should be inclusive. All the cabildos should be represented. If not, it's going to be a white elephant job. It's going to fail as other projects fail. So it's high time we have a robust system in place. You always talk about when it's time for politics, we do politics. Sometimes I don't know who are you fooling in your statements or in your rhetorics. When you said, we have to see Gambia, when you yourself, you are biased, you are not seeing Gambia. You. So it's okay. It's balanced. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member for Central Body, please.
So, Honorable Speaker, the 20.
Honorable Member for Central Body, please address the Speaker. Continue.
If a question is asked in the normal circumstances, you should answer it.
No, ignore them, please.
Okay. Honorable Speaker, the government remains steadfast in protecting the environment. I totally disagree. Strengthening climate resilience and ensuring sustainable natural resource management. They have to tell us, COP29 happened. I expect the president to give us feedback of Gambian representative to COP29. The climate challenge, how committed are we when we allow our chiefs and our local people deforesting our forests, cutting all the mahoganies? How committed are we to climate change? We are not. There must be a control in place. In the chief's court, the fine is not more than $9,000. Somebody goes and fell down a matured mahogany tree. You come and charge him $9,000. How much will he or she get from that tree? So we have to visit some of these colonial laws. These laws are not progressive. So people will be deliberately, mismanaging the forest. At the end of the day, small fines, they go into their comfort zones and enjoy the funds. So, Honorable Speaker, if we are committed, we must have a smart climate policies in place. We must make sure that we are committed to some of these international protocols that talks about environmental conservation and preservation. We talk about the fauna and flora, the famous Banjul Declaration. things been said by the Jawara regime. Up to now, let's count. How many trees do we protect? How many animals? We can't in fact go to Zimbabwe and bring elephants or lions. I'm taxing the foreign minister, his ambassador, or the ambassadors or whatever. This is what they should do in their international diplomacy. They should try and go to countries that have these wild animals we have them in Kiam Forest or other national parks. How many tourists are we losing that are going to Fatala in Senegal? So we call ourselves as a progressive nation? No. Individually, we might be progressive, but nationally, we are very weak. We don't expect our tourists to be crossing, paying a lot of money to Fatala. When Gambia, we can reinforce our local forests to be having some, even the antelope. You have to cross from Badibu to Kia and then you see an antelope. What is happening? Honorable Speaker, talking about the UNESCO network of biosphere reserve, the Gambia Force Design Biosphere Reserve, the Nyomi Biosphere Reserve was launched in January 2025. Honorable Speaker, this thing is launched, but go to Kunta Kinte Island. Kunta Kinte Island is seriously eroded. There is a lot of coastal erosion taking place. Even the trees, the baobab trees, are sick. They are infected. Soon there will be no baobab tree there. Soon there will be no baobab tree. The honorable member of Opanyomi can bear me witness. And this is the site that we generate a lot of funds. Tourists will go there. They will put a lot of money to that community. If we are trying to protect and seeing it as UNESCO heritage site, something needs to be done. And this parliament once allocated 2018-2019 funds to revitalize or rehabilitate James Island or Kunta Kinte Island. The former minister was challenged here on the floor, denied, but fact check shows that funds were allocated. So we must be responsible, and we must make sure that these World Heritage sites are protected. Coming to Bara, where you have the Fort Blaine, the famous Fort Blaine. Now, there is a construction going on, a ferry landing site. And this is a World Heritage site. Speaker, this is a Honorable Speaker, this is a World Heritage site. Do you understand? That has been internationally recognized. So now, using it as a ferry landing site, there is conflict. I don't know how that happened. So the site is now intruded. We need to look at it. I know you are not a frequent traveler to the North Bank region. Maybe you use the South Bank. But try one time. You see for yourself. Why are they constructing that a site at that place? Honorable Speaker, tourism area, the ecotourism. This parliament made a resolution. The report of the committee, the petition committee, still nothing happened. I thought the president would have informed us about the ecologists. We need to know the updates. These are taxpayers' money, a lot of money. And this is part of the president's policies that they want to make sure that tourism is taken to the rural Gambia. Somebody somewhere obstructed that. And we pass a resolution here. We expect this resolution to be respected by the executive to make sure that the perpetrators are brought to book. But nothing is done and nothing is said about that. Honorable Speaker, arts and culture. Arts and culture. The center is more of a classroom. Even a standard classroom is far better than arts and culture where it is located. So we need to move it to a better site to have better structures to keep our artifacts. Honorable Speaker, arts and culture should go beyond Kankurang masquerading or Fanana display. It should go beyond that. We expect this arts and culture to develop motions, to bring it to this parliament. We try to bring our stolen artifacts. This is what other countries are doing now. There are a lot of artifacts been taken from this country and is still lying down in their museums. We need them back. They have to come. The arts and culture, we need to see to it that our cultural heritage is revived all over. There is no ethnic group in this country that is without a culture. So if our cultural values are not respected, they are not promoted, where is our sense of identification? So the group that is interested to colonize us will colonize us mentally or religiously or culturally. This is what is happening in the Gambia. So we need to revive this culture. So, but arts and culture cannot do it with that. I don't know how can I, whether a matchbox house or whatever it is at that corner there. So we need a better site. We need better funding for this institution. Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there are a lot of issues happening in the embassies outside. And we expect the President to tell us some of the achievements and some of the challenges that they are facing right now. And those who are fighting each other, slapping each other, or misrepresenting Gambia, we need to know what are some of the actions being taken by the government. Because they cannot go and cause serious embarrassment to our nation. We expect them to behave well with smart policies and programs. The foreign policy must be seen, and we should be able to communicate to the foreign policy. So we task the President and the team to ensure that we have a robust foreign policy in place so that Gambia also can compete with other nations in terms of international standards. Honorable Speaker, Jambes looted assets. Honorable Speaker, when you come with reform ideas, if you do it partially or haphazardly, it causes a lot of chaos and it can tamper the peace that we all enjoy. These looted properties, hadn't been the white paper was properly, utilized, we will not talk about, or there will not like that mass demonstration by the youths. So we must respect whatever we are doing, and we must be serious to finish business. Even your own farm, if you go to your farm, you work there haphazardly. When it's time for harvest, you suffer. So we must make sure that we do the right thing at the right time. So those properties on code that belongs to the former president and the ones that have been sold, the country needs to know about it. But I don't think this requires another commission by anybody, because the records were there. So it's just a matter of visiting the records, come to the Gambian people, tell us what happened. If the funds were mismanaged, those responsible, let them pay it. It's simple. So, but we cannot just be setting up inquiries upon inquiries. At the end of the day, when trees falls on trees, keep on falling on trees, it will be very difficult to remove the one that is down. You have to go back and remove again and remove it. So it means taking 10 steps forward, 20 steps backward as a nation. I don't think that's progressive. Honorable Speaker, the COVID fund, COVID-19 came and passed. We need to be informed because there are a lot of funds that we are used during COVID-19. Up to now, we don't have proper record on how those funds were utilized. And the perpetrators must be brought to book, because you don't want people to be always going out to say, okay, because we need a report on this, we need clarity on this. The government should be on top of things. Government should come before the citizens in fact demand. So the communication system from the government to the citizens must be strengthened. And I believe the Honorable Vice President will extend this to the President to make sure that you work. Don't have sympathy for these people. Anybody who is found wanting, because if you don't want to be corrupt as a Vice President or as a President, why should your subordinates or the people that you appoint being so corrupt? So if the head is not infected, why should the body be infected? Honorable Speaker, the cement issue. The cement issue in the country is missed. And it's so sad. Even our own domestic works, fencing, housing, everything stopped. What is wrong, Honorable Speaker? This is unusual. Let's try and find out the solution. If we had a good thought and said, okay, let's make sure we give it to few people, but now it doesn't work, what is wrong for us to go back and take it from those few people and liberalize it? Let people be given opportunity to participate in the trade. Maybe if you fail to bring it, somebody somewhere in Badibu can easily go to Senegal and get this stuff. So the people who are supposed to become laborers, the horse or donkey carts, they are all sitting down. And you say they let them not go through back way. They will find back way. If they cannot have a right ways of means to survive in this country, then they will leave your country. So this cement issue must be addressed. I expect the president to say in the speech that, yes, this was the initial thought. We thought it would be very good for the economy or for the country, but now we are feeling with the citizens. And the Ministry of Trade will be taxed to work on A or B or C. But that's not the case. The price is skyrocketing because it's scarce. In economy, whenever scarcity comes, so the price will also go up because it's limited. So, Honorable Speaker, these are some of the things, that we need to be very serious as a country to address, because a lot of people are suffering. Some of them sold their trucks, some of them closed their shops. I went to Farafenni, I saw so many shops being closed, cement shops. So it's not good for the economy. Honorable Speaker, last but not the least, Women Enterprise Fund. Honorable Speaker, the president should be able to tell us, though we know the amount of money being disbursed, but out of this amount of money being disbursed, how much we are able to collect it back? Because it's revolving. It was not a free money. And the beneficiaries, we need to know how much did it impact their life. Because sometimes you give 10,000 to a particular woman, to a particular woman group. What can 10,000 do? Even an individual. I remember there was a time we went for this, follow up to see, how these funds were given and the beneficiaries. Sometimes it's difficult to, in fact, find out the people who got this money. And even if they come, they tell you stories. I went to Wasu to buy a sheep. On the way, my sheep die on the way. So how can it? There is nothing like monitoring system in place. So some of them, they could not be in fact traced out. So these are some of the challenges that we need to see, so that next time when we are disbursing, we know how. But we go to our platforms, MPP meetings, and take out the check, give them the women cup or check. Sometimes they think that it's free money, because they will say, okay, let me eat the money. When election comes, they will not come after me. And most of the time, you give it at a bad time, election period. The NAFA was disbursed during election period. So we have to look at these things. These are funds that we need to make sure that they benefit people. They stay for posterity. So when we are giving out, no matter what happens, let us try to wait until campaign period pass, not during the campaign period. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you, Member for Central Badibu. And now I invite the member for Talinding Kunjang.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. First and foremost, my sincere greetings to His Excellency the Vice President and the members of the Cabinet, Honorable Ministers here present. To continue on what colleagues have deliberated on, I would like to start with what is missing. Like somebody was saying, this is State of the Nation address. It's not supposed to be just what the president said. If you feel there, in terms of the State of the Nation, there are issues that the president has not raised, you can raise it here. So it's not a matter of what the president just said. So the first thing I noticed, I turned all the leaves around, is this government's commitment to fighting corruption. I have not seen it. Does it indeed exist? Or is the government reluctant to say there is corruption? Every day we see revelations coming out, people accused, but you see no step being taken by the government. How serious is the government? Because we know one of the challenges of African countries that deter the development, the pace we take in terms of development is corruption. And corruption has many forms. Not only financial. There are many forms of corruption. What is government's step in trying to curb corruption in the country? I have not seen it entirely. Is this why sometimes, and sometimes you see, look at what is happening, you tend to understand why the government is always silencing corruption. When people who have been adversely mentioned in other commissions, with the help of its members here, we create a law to allow the president to pardon them and you appoint them. When commissions recommend something, government will sit 5 years after joining commission, no implementation. People have been adversely mentioned, former ministers of the former regime, that should have paid back money. Some should have been, nothing happens. So this, you understand why the government is still silent. Is it a time bomb for you? Government should talk about this. Is something, it's obvious, it's in the plan. So I want to see the commitment of the government. It should be the center of discussion, because government is putting a lot of resources in the country now. That is the fact. The government is spending money on roads, on infrastructure, and sometimes National Assembly committees, they go on round. The sports committee will go and they come, they tell you things, you want to kill yourself. The investments in mini stadiums, nothing is happening. The projects, nothing is happening. Even at one time, President went on tour and he was dissatisfied. Within 1 week, changes happen. So meaning, if the president is not there, no one works. So for me, this is the most fundamental thing when we are expending public resources. It should be anchored on corruption-free if you want to achieve, what you want to achieve. So for the entire speech to be silent about what government is doing, I find that worrying. Now, the other issue that I would have loved the president to talk about is the cost of rent in this country. It's alarming, increasing, no regulation, nothing. At one time, when the private member bill was coming up, even the Ministry of Justice said they are trying to overhaul the whole, Rent Act. We all know it's obsolete. But how long will we wait for the Ministry of Justice to come with something that is affecting our society? And it's not only the tenants are affected. Even landlords, landladies are affected also. And also it has an impact on the economy. But there are landlords that are asking for foreign currency. Every year, you are as a tenant, every year it's increasing. So we have to have a law that governs the operation of, rental activities in this country, both for domicile and other business activities. And, it's important to have a special entity outside government, maybe a rent authority or something that looks at what is happening in this. Because, and also, government is losing revenue in this. How many of those compounds that are doing rental are paying tax? Even in our communities. So I don't know how this escapes government. Still, they cannot come up with something that can help this country. So the issue, President also mentioned about the support to farmers in the form of fertilizers and the price of the groundnut. Now, what I want to hear is, after buying groundnut, what do we do with it? What do we do with it? Should we continue to be exporting our groundnut as a raw material? What do we do to add value to the groundnuts we buy? We have GGC here that has failed. This urban drift, people who witness it, even the ministers, all of them, they are older than all of us here. They witness it. How Kauru was when the groundnut industry was booming. How Kunta Wood was. How do we ensure to bring those things back? So we continue to export our raw materials as African country, and they make it, they refine it, make it into oil, and we import those oils. This is going to affect our balance of trade. So what is the thinking with regards to government continuously buy a lot of millions in this groundnut, and at the end we export everything. And when we can keep the groundnut here, produce oil from it, take lot of it, there are a lot of produce that come from groundnut, not only oil. So what is the thinking in terms of this government with regards to that? So it's not enough to be buying groundnut. So the committee in charge, even they talk of recapitalizing or something with regards to GGC or something, and this is something government should do. It is in their recommendations. Why are you silent about that? Pipeline. Okay. Now, the infrastructure and, how do you call it, human capital development. We do know that the success stories of this government, human capital development is one of them in the areas of education and especially higher education. You are trying, something is happening, but no, don't clap yet. You know what I'm going to say. Now, it's not enough to have civil service university. It's not enough to have education university, because we know right now even the university is struggling with some of the issues. It was alarming when the areas to both services, we all came National Assembly here to fight for them to get that. Now, this is why I find it inconsistent when the government is promoting human capital development, but yet when it comes to allocation of resources to those institutions that you think, because democratic dividend is two institutions, health, Ministry of Health and Education. Now look at the government's budget in terms of that. The Tibet almost failed had it not been for the intervention of the assembly. Now you have a strategy. You said this is what, when we don't expect, if the Minister of Finance is giving ceiling, it should give ceiling according to what the government expects the Minister of Higher Education to do, what the government expects the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education to do, what the government expects the Health Ministry to do. Because you cannot give them a ceiling that it's not going to help them to achieve Tibet. It's not going to help them to achieve civil service university. It's not going to help them to achieve education university. Now you want them to come to National Assembly and do what? So I want to see these commitments reflect in the way you voted. But this is coming. We don't want higher education to come here, and we all agree that the way it is budgeted from cabinet, that cabinet approved, it's not reasonable in terms of what the program of government is saying in terms of capital development. So we want to see the concrete commitment from there, that we do not have anything to add to Ministry of Higher Education, because they have a lot of things they are doing. Every month they are opening new things. So how do they fund them? If it is in Madarasa time, we are just clapping here. We don't want them to come here and start having funding issues. Please. So those I want to underline that. These are critical, and health also. All of them. Minister of, you are opening schools everywhere. It's mentioned. So whatever resources needed to put quality education in those schools, You cannot leave that. They don't have to come cabinet approve and there is shortcomings and we come here, you have to cut other places. It shows inconsistency because Ministry of Finance, I told them at one time they are good in allocating resources to President's office and other places. They don't have error. And Ministry of Finance, they never have error. But when it comes to other institutions, you see error all the time. But Ministry of Finance, can anybody recall you put budget, you have problems, they are imbalance, and no, you don't have. They sort themselves out first. Sort the ministry, president's office, because that's why they come, because if you don't do president, we fire. So you certify the president first. So the rest, they don't care. Ministry struggle, they are frustrated because finance is cutting here, cutting here, cutting here, cutting here. Ministry of Health, frustrated. Ministry of Education, frustrated. Ministry of, what is the government doing? What is the problem? No, I have no observation. You have your time. No, you have don't interrupt. You are this is an attempt. Please. You are distracting me. You understand? So you have to be consistent in your actions. You have to be consistent in your actions. And sometimes it has to do with technicians as well. Government mentioned at Barak concession handed over in February. Now 2 months after, Al Barak make a press release that they have cleared all ships along there was no ship waiting now. They've cleared everything after 2 months. And then what is so strange is that they are using the same manpower, the same equipment. So what is wrong with Gambians? What is wrong? No, what is wrong? No, not sabotage. Somebody is failing to put oversight on them. Not sabotage. If I am the government, anybody sabotage me, I have to. If you succeed in sabotaging me, then I fail as a government. Yes. So something is wrong somewhere. And this is a management that has been celebrated before Al Barak came. They have been celebrated in the face of all Gambians. Al Barak came 2 months. They did something that 4 years or 7 years this management could not do. This is embarrassing. Do we have to bring Chinese and Europeans to manage this place? And even LRA, the same. Now, I have a life. When President was going to open Bundum police station, there was water lock around it before the coming of the new road. When they know President is coming, come and see the work that happened before the President was going there. The ground was leveled. Everything was there because the President is coming. We are not developing this country for the President. Nobody is working for the President. We are working for the country. So there is a lot of eye service, and even that is happening with Nawe. Even Nawe. Because if you go there, you have service now. All their attention is focused to achieving anything that can make the President happy or make him look like Nawe is working. But small services in the communities, no, it's a far cry. So we need to do better as a country. So, Honorable Speaker, lest I forget, this is not part of my debate line, but the Honorable Member for Joshua mentioned it, and I mention it frequently. The float, Kalinding Kunjang area, it's mentioned. And there is road construction. There are so many roads being constructed. But then it's alarming the way it is going. We are in the rainy season. If waterways are not created,